Hi everyone and Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2024 and it's kind of one of my aims. I say this probably every year, but I really do want to get better at putting more content on my YouTube channel. Life kind of gets in the way, and when I'm doing TV shows, I'm kind of so focused on getting all the samples ready for those that I tend to put video making on the back burner as something that I do when I've got the spare time. So I'm going to kind of make a conscious effort this year to do more. And as I'm doing my TV shows, like this one today, I'm going to try and just take the time before I start doing all my prep to just run you through what I'm going to be using, etc. So if you're in the UK and you do watch craft shopping television, I'm going to be on Hobby Maker TV on the 15th of January with these fabulous paints from Himi. I'll show you the different sets. This video is just going to really focus on this huge gouache set, and this is going to be an unboxing because I've just been given this. I haven't opened it yet, so I thought we'll do it together, then I can get on with my prep. But I will quickly show you the other things that are going to be on that show in case you're in the UK and you're interested. So this gouache set with 56 colours will be on the show. We've also got watercolours. So this is a 38 set of watercolours, beautiful range of colours. And then on top of that, we're going to have some of the brushes. And then this smaller set, this is also watercolours, and it's kind of like a travel set. So it's really cool because it comes in this little container. So if you're out and about and you want to do watercolouring plein air, then this is a really great set. You've got a few bits of watercolour cardstock in there. And then it's a really good travel set because you've got two sides to the palette. It comes with a water brush as well, so that's good. You haven't got to sort of bring a water container. And I just think the colour range on this is good because it's still a large enough set that you've got quite a lot of the colours you're going to need. You've got all the basics for mixing, that's for sure. I'm a bit lazy when it comes to mixing, and I kind of like sets that have a good range of colours that I might sort of lighten or darken them or tone them down with a bit of grey or whatever, but I generally don't like doing complicated mixing because my brain just can't really cope with it. So I like this because it's still quite a large set for a portable set. So that's going to be on there, and I know the price point of this one's really good as well. So it comes in this handy little container. So great if you are out and about. So I'm not going to dwell on the watercolours though, because for me, it's the gouache that excites me because it's a new thing for me, really. I'm not that familiar with gouache. I've watched loads of YouTube videos on this set and I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait because gouache gives you sort of more options in a way, because gouache is, I would say, in between a watercolour and an acrylic. Watercolours are very translucent. You can build up layers, but it's always going to have that watercolour look, that kind of, I don't want to say wishy-washy because that sounds like a negative thing to say, but that sort of pastel sort of feel to it. Acrylics, you can go really bold, bright. They're very opaque. You can water acrylics down, but the thing with acrylics is once they're dry, you're done. You can't sort of do anything with them, so you've got to work kind of bearing that in mind. Gouache is the perfect in between because you've got the opaqueness. If you put them on heavy, you can water them down so that they're pretty much the same as watercolours in terms of you can make them translucent if you want to, but you've got the flexibility with gouache that you can reactivate them once they're dry, so you can always go back in with water and blend them. So I think they're kind of a really exciting concept. So let's open up this and have a look at them. Now this container is airtight, or pretty airtight. It's got like a sort of felt lid, and then with the 4 fastenings on the side, it keeps it pretty airtight. When you get your gouache, it comes like this, and they are all individually in little packs. They're hard to get out actually. There's a lot in these. Each of these is 13mm. The price point on these is amazing for that because there's a lot of paint in these. So I'm going to open them all up. I'll probably speed this up because it's probably going to be a bit painful to watch. The first thing I'm going to mention though, as I open them, is, actually let's just get a couple out because that's going to help me. I probably need a pokey tool actually to just sort of, they're so tightly packed in. Let's just pop this top row out and start with them. The first thing I'm going to mention, which I've picked up from watching other videos, is these first two colours here are both white. They are slightly different whites in that one is titanium, I think, and the other one's got a different name. Hang on, I'll find the list. And the first thing I've picked up from watching other videos is don't open both whites, because white is white. Yeah, you've got white and titanium white, but I have heard from watching other videos that really you can't really tell the difference. You can kind of see this, the titanium white does look slightly more creamer, but you're really going to be using white to lighten other colours, so you only really need one at a time. So keep one and don't open it, because why open it and you know, risk it getting contaminated with other colours and dirty when you don't need to. So I'm going to leave that first white out of things for now, and I'm not going to open that. So I think we'll go row by row. Let's get this first row out of here. The other thing I am going to think about once I've got these out is whether I like this order, because I like things in rainbow. Yeah, they do actually look like pretty much rainbow order, so I think I'm going to keep them in the order they're in, because then I can refer to this as to where I am. So yes, that's that decision made. So I'm going to take the first couple of rows out, and then we'll start opening. And then once I start opening, I will speed up the video and stop talking, because this could be a slow process, because there's a lot to open here and they're quite snug in here with the lids on. So I've jumped ahead a little bit. I totally lost patience with removing them one by one, and I've just tipped them all out on my desk. Which is what I recommend doing actually. They are so snug in these little wells that you will be there all day trying to keep them in order. Just tip them all out. The names are on them, so as you work through, just use the chart to make sure you're putting them in the same place. And I mentioned about whether to put mine in rainbow order or what to do. One thing I will mention is once you take the lids off, there's no name on the paint itself. So if you are going to put them in a different order than the chart, you might want to get like a Sharpie and write the name sort of on the bottom or something, or on the side, so that you remember which one's which, because it's not such a problem when you're using them because you're sort of visually looking them, whatever. But it might be a problem if you run out of a colour and you want to replace it. You will need to know what colour it was in the first place. So I'm just making my life easier by following the chart and keeping them in that order. Then I know which is which. But obviously we're all different, and I know it's quite a personal thing as to how you organise your supplies. So I just wanted to mention that if you are going to mix up the order, you probably want to write on the bottom or side what the name is of each one. So I'm just working through popping these in. Let's talk about the maintenance of these actually while I'm slowly opening all of these. You'll see when you look at these now, you can see some of them have got a sort of oily puddle at the top. Before you use them, just give them a little mix. Then in terms of stopping them drying out, they are in quite a good container. With those clips on the side, it's relatively airtight. However, they will dry out if you don't do anything with them, if you leave them for months like that. So it's recommended to just get them out every couple of weeks and give them a quick spritz with water and then put the lid back on. If you do let them dry out, it's not the end of the world. You would just have to sort of spray a lot of water in each one and let them sit for a while, then remix them up to sort of reactivate them. But I guess it's easier to maintain them than it is to do that. So just open the lid every couple of weeks and just give them a spritz. Again, it also depends how often you're using them. If you're someone that's painting all the time, you're never going to get in that position. But if you're like me, I tend to go weeks and weeks without doing any painting, and then I suddenly have an idea and get them out. So I'm going to try and keep it in mind and just keep on top of that and spritz them every couple of weeks. So I've jumped right ahead now because obviously you didn't need to watch me putting all of those in. So we've skipped just to the last few, and I will just sort of talk you through what you've got here. So the first few rows, as you can see, are all beautiful colours. Then the last two rows, the first one you can see you've got some really cool fluorescent colours there. So you've got fluorescent yellow, green, orange, pink, purple and blue. Then you've got your it's a really dark grey and a black, I think. And then the very bottom row is all a kind of pearly finish, so pearlescent metallic type finishes. So you've got a really good mix here. The thing I love about this set in particular is I'm someone that's a bit lazy about mixing colours. I've got so many watercolour sets because I would rather have tons and tons. And I don't mind doing a bit of mixing, like darkening a shade or toning it down, or basic mixing, like making up my greens. But something in my brain, I think it's because I hate maths, anything too complicated, I just can't remember what colours to put together to get different shades. So I would much rather have a set like this where you've kind of got every colour you're going to need. And all you're really going to need to do with these is perhaps, you know, say if you wanted, you know, if you're using that really dark olive green and you wanted to tone it down a bit, you might put in a bit of white or yellow. That's kind of my sort of mixing, where I'm just slightly adjusting a shade. So this really covers me there. I like sets with lots of colours like this. So I'm just on the last one. Some of the lids are really hard to get off. Some of them come straight off. So as I say, you do need to allow a good sort of half an hour to set this up. But of course, once you've done it, you don't have to do it again. So now I've got my paints all ready to go. I'm going to swatch them. And this is something I do with all of my sets. I've been teaching myself watercolouring actually. And I've got one notebook that I kind of use as my practice pad and where I swatch all my colours. So I have sped this up a lot because otherwise this video would go on forever. So I apologise if it's making you dizzy that it's so fast. But obviously with all that unboxing, I didn't want this video to go on for ages. So I'm just going to work my way across and swatch these. And what I'm doing is I've got a ceramic palette here. There's a couple of things really to bear in mind with this set. The pots are really close together. You saw how tricky it was to get them out. So if you are someone that's quite fussy like me, you might want to use like a palette knife to get a bit of paint out each time and put it on the palette. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm a bit of a tidy freak. There's nothing worse for me than when someone opens up their paint set and it's all just mixed and it's mud and I can't bear it. So I will be doing my best to keep these pristine because that's just how I am. So what I'm doing is I am picking up the paint just with my brush, but I'm making sure I'm cleaning my brush after each one so that I'm not contaminating the other colours. I know lots of you don't care about stuff like that and will happily just sort of let them mix in and just grab what you need. But I do like to keep my things pristine if I can. So I'm making sure I've got a cloth there. I've got two pots of water above my desk. And I'm just making sure I'm cleaning in between. And I'm just working my way. In my watercolour pad, I try and fit my swatch to match the palette so that I can at a glance kind of see what that colour looks like in true form. So I'm just working my way across doing that. I've gone in with the colours fairly concentrated. I've got a wet brush, but I'm not adding too much water. So this is going to give me a good indication of the colours. Now I know lots of you do more detailed swatches than this and you might prefer to do a bigger swatch where you start off with the colour solid and then water it down just to show also what it looks like watered down. I sometimes do that, but there's so many paints in this set, I thought actually I can kind of guess what it's going to look like watered down, so I'm just going to go for the full-on colour. So I'm just on the last row now. And these are the pretty sort of pearlescent metallics. Now I've noticed with these, the colour You do have to put them on thicker to get a good opaque finish. I assume it's something to do with whatever they put in them to make them pearlescent. But I would say the colour in these isn't as strong as the sort of plain colours. So you will probably want to go on quite heavy with these. But they're lovely colours. So that's my swatch book completely done, and I'm ready to start painting. I will have some more videos coming up, hopefully, showing my different techniques. I'm going to be on Hobby Maker TV. If you're in the UK and you're watching this as it goes out and not ages afterwards, I'm filming this on, what's the day today? The 4th of January. These are going to be on Hobby Maker TV in the UK on the 15th of January. So if you're watching this before that and you're in the UK, you might want to join me for that, because they will have a really good deal on these paints. And as I say, I'll hopefully be back soon with some more videos on these, just showing you some basic techniques. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.